Hi everyone. So today I want to talk a little bit about perception. Our perception is pretty much everything. It's our perception that makes something pleasant to one person and not so pleasant to the next person. We live and do everything, including judge other things, based on our perception. It's the final deciding factor in what kind of choices we will be making in our lives. So if I make an analogy, for example, we're all living in this huge castle, and let's say with a million windows. And I'm of course being ridiculous because we truly have infinite number of windows that we can use. But just for the sake of argument, just for the sake of making a point. So even though some of us can look through the same window and share the same perception, we always have the option of changing the view and focusing on a different scenery. So, does this make the other view or scenery go away? Not at all. So, what does this do? For example, one of the windows, let's say, is looking into a garbage dump, and and it's dirt that is seeing, and every once in a while there's a beautiful bird that flies and sort of elates you, but it quickly goes away from the focus and you forget about it, and your focus view basically is remains on the garbage, and that becomes your main attraction. So now at the same time, the window on the other side is placed where you can see a garden and the amazingly beautiful and fragrant flowers, and people are happy. The sky is clear, blue, and sunny. And once in a while, there's a cloud that shows up, but it disappears very quickly. So both these windows are in the same castle, but how you feel viewing through each one of them is totally different feeling. Viewing through the window that shows the garden doesn't make the garbage on the other side to vanish and go away, but it will motivate you to do something to clean the other side. Looking at the window that shows you the dump will bring you down and rob you from all your motivation. So the perception, which is our view of all things that is happening in our lives and in life in general, is very much the same. Our focus on the beauty of this life and the positive aspects will not diminish all that is happening around us, and what we may want to improve, but it will be motivating factor for us to do better and make those changes. So now add to this fact that each of us will come back to the dinner table at the end of the night at the same castle to elaborate on what we have seen that day. And at this point, it all depends on how many people were looking at the dump versus how many of them were looking at the garden. So one will always overwhelm the other. If dump viewers are overpowering, it would feel to all at the table as if garbage is taking over, and soon all the garden will die and we're going to be suffocating. If garden viewers are overpowering, then it feels as if the flowers will take over the dump, and and we will use the dump as the fertilizer. So now, as extreme as both of these views may sound, one of them is more motivating than the other one. So one of them says, if I get out there and compost the dump, I can create a beautiful space. And the other one says, I'm done. Why even bother? So you see, a minor adjustment in the perception will take it all different for it'll make a whole lot of difference for you, and hence for others, because your feeling will transfer to them. So you can then bring hope to the ones that might be suffocating in the garbage, so to speak. This might not be actually as easy as I'm making it sound like. Why? Because some of us, due to conditioning, whether it is cultural, it's religion, societal, family, etc., don't know how to move from one window to the next. The trick is to move to the next best window, meaning there are probably thousands of windows between the one that is overlooking the dump and the one that is overlooking the garden, right? And running from one to the other may not be the best viable option, but slightly moving in that direction will make it easier or will feel easier. So all we really do have to do is to very gently just move slightly the way we need to go. And before we know it, voila, we're there, right? Now, so now after all this effort, you have moved to the garden window. Now what? Now you can uplift your spirit by looking at the gorgeous colors, the beautiful sky, and the abundance of the beauty and health, and the running creek, and all the beautiful creatures you can see. Once you feel better, you can now help someone else to move as well to that window, and try to ensure that that person also can see the garden, aside from the garbage, right? And you're gonna try all you can to make sure that the garden will grow and not the garbage, right? So, and every little bit will help, and the end result will be a unified force of humanity, which is living in peace, harmony with all the creatures. Now, for the ones that refuse to change the view from dump to garden, we can make a confined compound that to satisfy their needs as well. After all, we're all entitled to the experience we want to experience. So, in the meantime, if you now have moved to Garden View and would like to make a difference, make sure to do all your due diligence. Let me be very direct here for a second. So, we all say that we love nature and we want to preserve it, and because it's good for us and for the generations to come. I like you to sort of take a very quick look at what we are doing to animals and to nature by, for example, using sunscreen, products made with palm oil, red meat, mass-produced jeans. That's right, the jeans that you wear, canned fish and commercial foods, plastic, etc. Seeing that you now wish to make the dump into a garden, be mindful of not adding to the dump while the efforts are underway to make the garden. Make wiser choices so that the garden window will be every window, will become every single window. Today, we see all news from the point of view of those who are looking as in what is wrong, and very little focus is what is actually working and what is right and what we can do to make it actually better. The problem is compounded by those of us who are actually looking through the garden window but don't know how to convince others to do so. Instead of trying to bring the mass focus to positive, we try to fight the negative. In that, we lose the shine and the light that we had gained from our original perspective. So, look at how Mother Teresa actually handled this. I'm sure you've heard of this, but I like to sort of reiterate this. She said, I once was asked why I don't participate in anti-war demonstrations, and I said that I will never do that, but as soon as you have a pro-peace rally, I'll be there. Do you see how much positivity and motivation is behind the word pro-peace? I often get weird looks when they ask me at the grocery checkout if I would like to donate to sick children, and I say no. All they need to do is ask me, would you like to donate to make children healthy? And my answer every single time will be yes. We need to learn not to fight the garbage, but how to change the garbage to benefit us and the landscape. So there's a difference there. We need to learn compassion to all beings, not just human, Before you kill anything, stop for a second and think, what if that what if the table was turned around and you were the one being killed? Before you break anything, think about it. What if you were the one being broken? What if you were the one being abused? And what if you were the one being robbed? And what if you were the one hearing the news that you're delivering to someone else? Compassion is the word. Compassion is what needs to be, my friends. I'm always open for discussions and questions. Let me give you the window that I'm looking at you all right now before I sign off. I see you sitting in a lap of luxury, in complete and absolute health, surrounded by your loved ones, two or four-legged or anything else in between, in the best scenery your heart desires, with all the comforts you can imagine, enjoying life as heavenly as possible. And so shall it be. Now for the closing, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I thank you, and I love you. I love you all. Be the light.